Tracking your brand mentions on LinkedIn can be a really frustrating process simply because LinkedIn doesn't offer any native way to track your brand mentions in a scalable way. It's also really tough if you want to share your brand mentions with your larger team, create awareness around them, or even have an internal conversation around them. All these things are very hard to do with LinkedIn natively. The only option you have to track your brand mentions are basically to work with the notifications you get when someone mentions your brand and to search your brand. Here I've chosen this example brand, Partwell HR. And to see all my mentions on LinkedIn, I just have to search for this page. And then on the top navigation bar, I click on posts. Here I have the option to see all my mentions. But of course, this is a tedious process. I, as an individual social media manager, have to go on LinkedIn, search for these mentions on a daily basis, maybe even multiple times a day. And if I want to discuss one of these mentions, I have to take a screenshot, I have to send them as an email, all of these things. They're tedious, they consume time, they're easy to forget and just not do. They also don't scale if you're working in a larger team or even if you're just a single person who gets a decent amount of mentions on social media platforms, let alone if you want to do this for more platforms than just LinkedIn. If you also want to add Twitter to your pipeline, then things get really out of hand because then you're constantly on these platforms trying to grab your mentions. This is not great, and this is also why I want to show you a second way of doing this, a tool called GoSquad that will be linked below this video in the description. GoSquad is a social media toolkit with a bunch of functionality, but one thing it can do really well is connect to your LinkedIn and Twitter profiles in the background, grab all your latest mentions, and then forward them to specified Slack channels or specified email contacts. And this makes it really easy to work as a team when it comes to mentions. It also makes it really easy to just have this automated process that creates broad visibility and awareness around what people are saying about your brand on social media platforms. So after you sign up to GoSquad, you can connect your social media platforms by navigating to app settings, connected accounts. In the LinkedIn section here, you can connect your LinkedIn account. You can also choose to connect one or more Twitter accounts and Slack channels. After all of these integrations are set up, you navigate to syncs and create a new sync. We call this a LinkedIn mentions sync here. You have the option of selecting squads to send the sync to. Squads are just a wrapper around email contacts. So if you have a certain number of people who should receive brand mentions as an email, maybe this could be the leadership of your company, some investors, whoever you choose, you can specify them as an email contact based squad. Here we choose the root squad. We also select a Slack channel. This will give us the option of grabbing all of our mentions and forwarding them to a Slack channel. GoSquad will also take care of creating a nicely formatted message from these mentions for us. Lastly, we choose some pages from where we want to get the mentions from. Here, a small disclaimer. GoSquad will only work with pages you manage. It will not work with your personal account. Here we choose the page that I showed you earlier, this business page for this company called Partwell HR. And lastly, we choose a frequency in which to sync with. Here we choose a weekly frequency, which will just mean that GoSquad will connect to our social platforms once a week, grab all our latest mentions from that week, compose an email newsletter from it, as well as a Slack message, and send these messages out to the defined outlets. So if we're happy with the way everything is set up here, we simply click on create and GoSquad will take over from here, do all the hard work, and this will make it really easy for you to create visibility around all your brand mentions on social media platforms. It will also make it super easy for you to have discussions and to create broad awareness of your brand's reputation among your company and team, whoever you choose to include. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you ran into any problems, please let me know. Talk to you soon.